What's up, guys? This is Johnny, and welcome to episode 50 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. Tonight I'm here with Daniel Stegehuis from the Netherlands, which is in Holland, right?
Yes. I'm from the center of Holland, and in Dutch, my name is Daniel Stegehuis.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Stegosaurus.
Good job.
Yeah. So, when did you move out to Chiang Mai, and how did you end up here?
I left at September the 11th in Holland. I actually found out it was the cheapest ticket because of this date, I guess. And I just got there one day later, got in a guest house, checked out the city, and now I got here with you guys, and this is how we got here.
Very cool. So the reason why I wanted to have you on is you have a pretty interesting life.
Yeah.
You owned a fitness gym back in Holland, and then you wanted to become an entrepreneur, and now you're out here in Chiang Mai.
Yes.
And so I want to find out more about that. But first, let's talk about. Actually, I'm curious. Did you feel uncomfortable at all flying on 9/11, or is it because it's so long ago? Does it even matter?
Yeah, I'm thinking that way exactly. I actually found out after I bought the ticket, but I think I would have bought it anyway. And, I'm not that, I don't know.
Superstitious?
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Actually, I'm planning on going to Borneo in Malaysia next month to go do some scuba diving. Oh, cool. And when I flew there last time, it was with Malaysian Airlines, which has had a lot of bad luck recently. Yeah. But I will still fly with them. Yeah. Like, it was a good airline.
Exactly.
And the thing is, I mean, people worry about flights all the time, but statistically, you are much more likely to die in a car accident, walking across the street. Yeah. You know, it's always ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what I tell people all the time. And I actually thought in the beginning I was flying with Malaysian Airlines too. So the first few weeks I told people I'm flying on 9/11 and with Malaysian Airlines. But I found out it was Singapore Airlines.
Oh, which is one of the nicest airlines.
Yeah, it was a good flight.
Yeah, the fact that you got that for a good deal. Actually, how much was it?
I guess it was around €100, which is...
And is that one way or two ways?
One way.
Okay. Yeah. That's still a good deal.
Yeah.
I looked into flying into Holland during my last trip. Went to Europe for my first time this summer. Cool. And I wrote about it on my blog. But I loved it, and I think next summer I want to go back. And Holland was the one place I didn't have a chance to go to last time. So this time I definitely want to go.
You were too busy, or?
No, it wasn't part of the itinerary because I started in Berlin. Yeah. And I can either go towards Holland, I guess, or away from it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I really wanted to check out Budapest, so I figured along the way was Vienna and Prague, which were both cool. Yeah. But next summer, I'll probably check out Amsterdam, maybe, I don't know. I can't name any other province in Holland.
I will tell you about it.
Okay. Yeah. So you were saying during lunch that it's a huge culture shock. It's different. Tell me the difference between being out here and being back in small town Holland.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the thing for me is I said to some of the guys, there's more happening to me now within a week than I guess in 2 months back home. That's the biggest difference for me. And it's about meeting the new people, being in a new place, having all these new experiences, experiencing all these culture differences about how to interact with people, how they spend their day, how they are behaving between each other. So
how did you spend your day back in Holland? And you're not from Amsterdam, you're from a smaller town, right?
Yeah, okay. It's the center of Holland, beneath Utrecht. Utrecht is like the center province of Holland. I've been an entrepreneur now for, I guess, at least 4 years. And I pretty much designed my life the way I already wanted it. Okay. Because me and my cousin started this business, and a year before we were talking to each other, what do we want our lives to look within a year?
So what was it like when you first sat down to think about that?
Yeah. It's easy to avoid because it's actually hard to think about it, and it gives you I guess a strange feeling, because the moment you believe everything's possible, you almost get afraid about what's possible, because it's so much, and it's hard to put it in practice, I guess, in a real physical turnout. And the strange thing is, a year later, we checked the things we put up the year before, and we lived the way we wanted to live. So to get back to your first question, I woke up without an alarm clock, most of the times early in the day. I'm pretty... my health is important for me, so I always cook a healthy breakfast in the morning. I guess when I had to go to school, because I just finished school, I went to school. But when I didn't, I worked on my business in the morning. I feel productive in the morning, I guess. And I had like a few clients most of the days, or I was working online on the website, or just developing something, learning something, or helping the people. I guess that's it.
That's cool. So if you guys want to follow along, the website's in Dutch, but it's eatmoveimprove.nl, which stands for the Netherlands. Right? And so tell me about your way of eating, and then let's talk about your way of exercise.
Yeah, okay. So I started this healthy lifestyle with Paleo, the same way I guess you started, or at least are eating like. And then it kind of evolved a little bit, because I was learning a lot about it, and I was listening to my own body. I guess that's one of the most important things, because it's able to tell you much more than all the research and all the things professional people tell you. So it got evolved a little bit, and I found like my own way to work with this paleo diet.
Okay.
I guess that's it.
So how's your diet changed from like the traditional paleo diet?
I guess I'm not that strict on measuring my food. Most of the times I wonder if it will help me in a certain direction, and I'm not that hard on myself when I don't eat like paleo. And I'm not that strict on having it all biological. Do I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay, like organic, because it's hard for me in my place to get all these items. Let's see what things.
So let's say for today, so we went to lunch with a big group of people from Panspace. How many people were there today?
I guess 12 to 15.
And was that a big shock to you? Because I think it was you. You asked me if this is like normal for this many people to go to lunch together. And would you ever see that back home?
No, because back home I always I've been like with 2 or 3 people maximum. We don't have like a working space like this, and I actually didn't have that much people around me with this same mindset. So that's the most thing that's new for me.
I've actually heard that not just from people from small towns, but people from London, San Francisco, New York, some of the biggest cities in the world. I still hear the same thing, that a lot of people don't have this entrepreneurial mindset. They're afraid to travel. They're afraid to go for after what they want. What do you think made you different? I mean, as in, how did you get the confidence to become an entrepreneur and then to travel?
Well, what started me on this journey to change like a normal entrepreneur back in Holland to a traveling online entrepreneur was my last journey to Thailand in a year ago.
Okay.
There's a long story behind it, but to keep it short, a friend of mine and me wanted to learn more about our spiritual way of living, and we visited a meditation retreat in the south of Thailand. That's why we came here for. We stayed for like a month.
Which retreat was that?
I read your book, and it was the same. It's in Suratani.
Oh, okay. So the Swan Mock.
Yeah.
And did you stay the whole 10 days?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. So that was my first trip to Thailand, and I did some places to see afterwards. But this experience made me realize that I didn't need much to be happy and just enjoy life.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I went so many years ago. I actually don't remember that much about it.
Shit.
So since it's a little bit more fresh in your head, tell us about it.
Okay, so it was a 10-day meditation retreat in the south of Thailand. I arrived like a week before in Bangkok, which was also a huge difference. We arrived there, met a lot of people. The first day we slept at the main area, and then we went to the meditation area. There was no talking, 2 meals a day, a tea at night, and the things you wrote in your book about no sex, no physical interaction with other people. I don't remember all of them, but these restrictions, I guess. I guess the first 3, 4, 5 days were nice and were a good experience for me, but then it kept getting harder for me. But until day 8, I still improved in getting to know myself and improving the meditation. After day 8, I kind of lost it in terms of focus, and I still set it out, but
it's impressive that you
hard days. Yeah.
I mean, for most people, so if you're listening to this and you've never done any meditation, just try to do it for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Exactly.
It seems like it would be easy just to not do anything, but it's one of the hardest things I ever did.
Exactly.
And honestly, I don't really want to do it again, but I learned a lot from it.
Okay. Why don't you want to do it again?
I feel like that meditation made me realize how precious life is. Yeah. So now I try not to waste any time. Oh. And I think before I did that meditation, I used to waste a lot of time. I used to, watch TV or, just surf the internet and do things that wasn't really being productive. I mean, sometimes 3 or 4 years would pass and nothing really would have changed. I wasn't really in any better shape. I didn't have any new accomplishments. I was kind of just, being content with life. And that's what I really wanted. Yeah. And I think after that meditation, I realized that life changes quick. And in not even 4 years, but in 4 months, I would like to have accomplished something. Yeah. I'd like to be in better shape. I'd like to have my relationship be further along. I would like to have more money in the bank. I would like to have a new skill. Yeah. I would like to have published another book, Yeah. And I actually thought about it because I turned 33 about 4 months ago exactly. So that's actually the only reason why I know this number. And I was trying to think what I did since then. Yeah. And I was like, man, I've been to 4 countries. I published a book. Exactly. I recorded, how many new episodes of the podcast?
50 now.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, a big episode. It's like, it almost feels like overnight. I now have 50 episodes, which means it's been 50 weeks. It's been almost a year.
Yeah. Thanks for being on this interview. It really means a lot for me. Yeah. And these podcasts is one of the major influences which got me here.
So you told me that it was your mom that tell us the story.
Yeah. So my mom has a barbershop, I told you, and she's speaking with a lot of people all day long. And she knew after this trip in Thailand, the only thing I thought about was getting back and staying there. Well, at least being able to be there if I want to and be somewhere else if I want to be there. So I guess my whole goal after this was working on something which allowed me to do this. She knew this and she talked with a lot of customers about it. And one day she found someone who knew about this entrepreneur hub in Chiang Mai. Well, she said north of Thailand. So that got me thinking and researching about this way of life, I guess. And that's where the ball got rolling. That's where the idea was planted in my head. The idea was there, but the physical translation of how to do it got there. And this way I found out your blog, I found out your podcast, I found out your YouTube videos, which I guess all of them, or at least most of them, were so helpful to me, and I watched them a couple times, and it really made me believe that this is possible, and motivated me the times I needed it back home in order to get me going again and keep working on this dream, because this is a huge dream of mine, and was able to get me back on the road again.
That's cool. So walk me through it. So how long did it take from when your mom told you about that story to you doing the research and then coming out here?
Yeah, I remember it was a sunny day, so it must have been summer. It's November now. I've been to Thailand.
Over a year or less than a year?
I would say a year. Yes.
A year. Okay.
Yes, I would
so that's
say
a lot of planning.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were the major things that you needed to have in place before you were comfortable to come here?
I guess at least have something I could work on in order to have some income while I would be here. That would be the most important thing for me.
Okay.
And that worked out.
Yeah, good. So tell me about that.
Okay. I saw your journey of putting up an e-commerce store, and you told everything about it. And there were not many people in Holland doing this or using this business model of selling online. So, it actually, you wrote on your blog that the retreat was coming up, and it was the last day you were able to sign up for this retreat.
Yeah.
So this day was what pulled the trigger for me. Okay. I signed in for the course, able to join this retreat, because this it was like a once in a lifetime opportunity for me. So I actually talked with a friend of mine, because I was with him on the trip a year ago, and he wanted to join this trip. So we bought this course together, Anton's course, but he kind of changed directions. He wanted to go to Australia and kind of wanted to do it on his own way instead of doing it a little bit together, and we kind of separated. He will come back later. That's the feeling I have. But that's how we got started.
So is he like picking fruit in Australia, or what is he doing?
He's actually planning on kind of doing that. Yeah. Okay. He's saving the money in order to go there with his regular job now in Holland.
Yeah. So he can go there and pick fruit.
Well, he actually talked about working on a farm. With sheep and horses, just to figure out what he wanted to do, you know? Okay. Yeah, and getting to know himself.
That's cool.
That's it, yeah.
I think, either way, I applaud him for getting out of the box, not having the normal job and, trying something new.
At least try it.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing, I think.
So how long ago did you sign up for the course, and tell me about the journey? So
it's exactly the day you posted this you remember?
No? It's probably a few months, 4 months, 5 months? I have no idea.
At least.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think half a year.
Okay.
Well, no, probably 5 months, because I haven't been working that long on the store yet. So let's say 5 months.
How long did it take you to get everything started?
I think because I was in school and I had my business, it took me a little bit longer than usual. And I wasn't able to put in the amount of time I'm able to put in here. Okay. So I guess within 2 months of working a little bit every day and spending one day like full time on the business, I had my first sale, and just improved from there. Just improving every day and learning every day, trying every idea and. Yeah, so 2 months, and after a month extra, I guess 3 months like serious working. Okay. That would be the best answer.
And so did you set up your store as a US company or as a Dutch company?
Yeah, so that was the thing for me, because I'm from Holland. I actually didn't thought about setting up a US store, because I had my business already, and I was signed in the Chamber of Commerce, it's called, in Holland. And it would have been much easier to just do it in Holland for me. And the second thing is, there were already so many US people doing this compared to the people in Holland. So it's the most obvious choice for me.
I actually keep telling people that, you know, it's a blessing that you guys are from another country where e-commerce isn't as big yet.
Yep.
But a lot of people are like, no, you know, there's so many more customers in the US and it's so much easier.
No.
And I'm telling them, I'm like, man, I wish if I lived anywhere else in the US, I would make a store in whatever country that is.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think now, because before, I would say a year ago, everybody on Anton's course was American. I think almost 100%.
Oh.
And then in the last few months, there's a lot of people from Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Sweden, and now the Netherlands. Yeah. And I would say, you know what? Those people are actually, a lot of them, they don't actually tell everyone they're doing well. Because I almost feel like they want to keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are killing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not killing it already, but I think it's a huge possibility of like being one of the major guys in Holland, because I'm one of first.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I know there's the Swedish Anton.
Yeah, I heard about him.
I haven't met him, but I heard he's out here in Chiang Mai.
So did I.
And I think so on the private member forums, people post up, you know, their statuses and like a journal, and most people, their first post is like, oh, okay, I called some suppliers and I'm trying to learn how to do this. His first post was like, hey guys, made my first sale.
Oh, shit.
And he's like, I think he said 900 in profit.
Yeah.
And everyone replied saying, are you sure it's 900 in profit or is it $900 sale?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's, I'm in Sweden. So it's like, how many kronas? And, you know, he's like, the item was 7,000 krona and I made this much.
Wow.
And everyone was like, what the heck, you know? And it's such a small country.
Yeah.
But that just kind of shows that even if e-commerce isn't huge in wherever you live, and the whole world is buying stuff online. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no doubt.
Exactly.
I mean, I would say, I've literally have not met anyone from any country where it's impossible. Yeah. I think some places it's easier than others to set up. Yeah. Especially like just setting up the basic tax stuff. Mm-hmm. But, you know, now you have a real legitimate business. Yeah. And is it making you enough to live in Thailand yet?
If it continues the way it started this week, then it is.
Okay, tell me about this week's sales.
Well, I've been here for a week and a half now, and like my third or fourth day, I didn't have a sale for a month. Okay. When I left, no, not really left, but after I had my second sale, because I didn't have that many sales yet, but I have had good profit. Uh-huh. And it was my third day and I had a sale already. And I only worked on the store for 1.5 hours that day. It was my first time. I got my laptop again, just checked some stuff, worked on it, and there was a sale.
That's cool.
It's crazy, yeah.
So what changes do you think led to that sale, or is it just luck?
I don't know, because I don't really believe in this kind of luck, but yeah, because I worked on it for an hour, but there were no huge changes, like this would help my conversion or something. So I guess it's something, we can call it luck. Because
well, you know what? I honestly think that there's luck, but there's also things like, I really think that Google, even with the paid ads, I really feel like if you are constantly making changes and updates, they rank it higher. Yeah. Because I think they like fresh content. Yeah. And I've noticed that too when I don't do anything with my stores. I don't, update anything for a few weeks or months. Mm-hmm. The sales drop down. Oh. And as soon as I start making updates again, the sales increase.
Yeah. I just sat down with a girl who's specialized in SEO, and she actually told me that there's like a robot checking all the websites, and the moment you're uploading your site a lot and changing things a lot, it will rank you higher in Google and give you more visitors.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So this week's task for my girlfriend, who is now an entrepreneur as well, is, so if you guys haven't heard the previous podcast, basically she quit her teaching job, and for half the day she's helping me with my dropshipping stores. Yeah. Because it already makes money, so I figure if she can help me make more money, I'm happy to split that with her so we can both live. But the other half of the day, we work on projects together. Yeah. So what she's doing this week is she's rewriting all my descriptions and, custom writing it. And that way it's not duplicate content.
Yep.
You're not just copy and pasting the manufacturer description. Yes. We can write like a nice, unique description, but also for SEO purposes, for search engine optimization, Google likes that because you're adding fresh, valuable content.
Exactly. And your customers will like it.
Yeah, because they're not just reading the same thing they just read somewhere else.
Exactly. They will have like a special treatment compared to the other sites. Yeah, I guess
definitely. And you know what? It's crazy. Well, okay, I never really mentioned this because basically I'm a very optimistic, helpful guy. Yeah. I like to help people who appreciate my help. Yeah. But there's always going to be the people out there who, they basically just want to try to copy what you do. And recently I've had a couple different competitors pop up, and they basically just copied my entire sites. And this is why I don't talk about my sites too openly, is because, I would say 99% of the world is good people, and 99% of the world will also say, you know what? Oh, wow, this works. Yeah. Let me find my own niche, and and I'll also make money. Mm-hmm. And there's always going to be that like 0.01% of people who are like, oh, there's only one possible niche in the world, and Johnny's taking it already. Exactly. Yeah. And the thing, here's the truth, guys. I don't make as much as a lot of the other people I know in Adon's course. Yeah. So it's a lot of the people who I've actually referred to dropshipping are now making more money than me. But I'm okay with it. Yeah. Because if I wanted to spend more time on it, I could. If I wanted to open another store, I could as well. So there's these couple 0.01% of people who basically just copy and pasted my entire site. Yeah. And I'll find it. It's not that hard, And then I find it, and I'm like, okay, should I email them and should I go over there and punch them in the nose? What should I do? And I honestly, when I first saw it, I was angry. So I'm like, this is such a negative, pessimistic mindset. I want to just go there and strangle them. Yeah. But I was like, okay, maybe I'll email them, ask them nicely, take down their site. And then I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Let them waste their time building up the site. I'm just going to call my manufacturers, my suppliers, and say, hey, look, there's these guys copying my site. Please don't approve them as a supplier. Yeah. And guess what? They looked at their site and they saw that these idiots, copy and pasted everything from my FAQ to my price guarantees to my, to all my product descriptions. So as a supplier, they're like, well, these people aren't adding any new value. Yeah. So they just didn't approve them. Yeah. And now these guys just wasted their time when they could have spent the exact same amount of time starting their own store in a different niche. Yeah.
And your supplier trusts you more than them because you're working with them for a long time,
Yeah, I've been in that niche for a year now. I've talked to them on the phone probably at least once a month since then. And, like little things. Awesome. Like, how's your family doing? How's your vacation? And there's one supplier, my main one, I actually went to visit when I was back in the U.S. Because they were only like 40 minutes away. So I was like, I'll pop by and have lunch with them. Yeah. So now, and then here's the crazy thing is a lot of people don't realize that even though it is websites, online business, it's exactly the same as you opened a physical location selling it. There's almost no difference. No.
And I think that's one thing most people forget about this. Because it's like you follow this course and you follow the steps, but don't forget you're really putting up a business and putting yourself out there. And one thing I want to say about what you mentioned about like 0.01 of the people are copying the stuff you are doing is I really think that's kind of true, but it's because these people around here, which will actually make it here and which will actually make it to your site and your podcast, are different than the average people. And I think the average people are more like this because I think it's human behavior to... I think to be like sheep behavior, and I guess that's what's happening by people copying your site.
I was actually talking to Larissa about this, and she was saying that she had messaged a lot of all her friends on Facebook, telling them about the new Udemy course that we put together, and she gave them access to it and says, "Hey, can you please leave a nice review?" And then she said that this one, a-hole that she's helped so much. He wanted to come out. He's from South Africa, and he wanted to come out to be a English teacher. So he asked her a list of questions, and she helped him so much back and forth, and and then not only was he not appreciative, now she finds out that he's also trying to make a Udemy course, and she was so mad. She was like, you know what? I can't believe. And the thing is, and then he left a bad review on our course for no.
Wow.
And she messaged him saying, "Why, why would you do that? Like, I just tell me, she's like, just don't leave a review at all."
No.
And it wasn't even a bad review. He left a 4-star review, but what he wrote was like this crappy one sentence, like, "Oh yeah, it was okay." That's it.
Yeah. So why do you think people do this?
So she was saying it's because, people are unhappy at home with their lives. Yes. It's the kind of crab in the barrel mentality. Everyone else around them is negative as well. And everyone's unhappy. So everyone's like pulling each other down.
Yeah.
And she was really upset. And I told her, I said, look, I understand. I went through the same thing with my stores. Yeah. But let's think of it from the big picture. Let's think about our lives and where we're going to be a year from now and where they're going to be. And the thing is, they try to copy us. They can try, but they're at the end of the day, they're wasting their time.
Exactly.
Because if they have the mentality of not working hard and not putting the effort to build their own thing, they're never going to succeed. Exactly. And not just with that niche, with that store, with that course, but in life. In literally, I think one of the only reasons why I'm successful with things like my Udemy course is because I have such good friends and family. And as soon as, we launched it, I just messaged everyone and say, hey, can you guys please, take the course and leave a review so we can get it started? Yeah. And tell your friends. And all of them said, okay. And while this guy, I bet you nobody's going to help him.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think because it makes them feel uncomfortable, you doing your thing and living your life the way you want it. I guess that's make them feel shit and they want to drag you down. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. But guess what? We're too strong now. They can't drag us down.
Yeah.
We're like the crabs that can do muscle ups.
Yeah. So you don't focus on these things beneath you and just focus on the things above you, and this will drag you up.
Yeah, I really believe that.
Yeah.
I really believe it. And the thing is, we can also try to help pull people up as well. Yeah. But at the same time, I think I'm using the crabs, in a barrel as an example. So for those who don't know, if you ever put a bunch of crabs in a container, you don't have to worry about them escaping. Because as soon as one starts to escape, another one will pull him down. Yeah. They all kind of latch on and nobody ever escapes.
I know what you mean.
But I think of it as, I was stuck as a crab in this, this barrel. I had a corporate job. I wasn't happy. And I somehow, regardless of what everyone else said, I left the crab barrel. Yeah. And then I tried to go back and pull people up. And I realized it's hard. A lot of people don't want to leave. They want to pull you down. Yeah. Like you are literally trying to help them out of the bucket, but they are trying to pull you back in. So instead of trying to do that, I've left them a ladder.
Oh, yeah.
And this is how I feel this podcast is, what my blog is.
Definitely.
And just openly talk about these things.
Yeah.
I feel like this is me putting a ladder. I'm not, I'm not at risk of them pulling me down because I'm already doing something else. Yeah. But I left the ladder because I never want someone else to be stuck in that situation.
Yeah. And I think your podcast made me feel like, wow, I don't want to get stuck there. And that's what I said the moment I met you. I really want to thank you for putting this ladder up there, and I take it really for granted. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. You're very welcome. And so dankjewel.
Well, yeah, dankjewel. Yes. It made me think because it wasn't exactly the same, but it's dankjewel.
Dankjewel.
That's it. Cool.
Yeah, my Dutch is not the best yet. But so, one of the reasons why I actually wanted to have you on the podcast isn't just because you have an interesting story. It's because you're also very appreciative. And it's hard to say, it's kind of a hard thing to say. So I actually never say it out loud. Oh. But I put the ladder there and I want everyone to pull themselves up and be happy. And even if they never even say thank you, I'm okay with it, but there's two types of people in the world. There's givers and there's takers. Definitely. And what I've realized is that there's some people that if you help them out, they are actually grateful and they will try to help you out. Even if they can't do anything big, they will try to help you out, And one of the very first things you said to me was, hey, let me take you for a sushi dinner. Yep. And that made me really appreciate it. I was like, you know what? I'm so happy that, that you actually appreciated the help I gave you so much that you were going to go out of your way. And the thing is the same with with Derek, who used to be on the podcast too.
Okay.
He took me out to lunch, and the thing is, I don't need people to buy me lunch. No. It's especially out here in Thailand, food is not that expensive.
No, that's not what this is about.
It's not what it's about. No. So tell me what was going through your head? Why did you want to treat me in bed to dinner?
Okay, because me being here for just a week and a half has been in my head for so long and like a dream. And for me, it's a dream coming true, and I still don't realize it. So this is one of the biggest things people in the world could do for me, and this is the least thing I'm able to do for you. So I'm willing to do. This is just the beginning, I guess.
And because you're willing, you're appreciative, and you show that makes me want to help you even more. Now that makes me want to sit down and look through your store and be like, okay, this is how you make a lot more sales.
Cool, man.
Versus the opposite. And here's a sad thing is, there's not everyone's like that. And I would say most people that actually make it out to Chiang Mai have a very positive mentality because they escaped, home, and they're happy and they're traveling. But even people here, there's some of them that still have that mentality, and it makes me not want to help them at all.
I agree.
And I mean, even right now at Pun Space, there's I would say 99% of the people, they are super cool, super appreciative, and then there's the one guy who he's never said thank you once for anything. Yeah. And then not only that, he'll so at Pun Space, it's a pretty openly sharing place, right? But people bring let's say their own coffee or their own, own butter to make, bulletproof butter, coffee.
They just showed me.
And then there's this one guy who never even asked if it's okay. He just starts and uses everyone else's stuff.
Really?
And if he asked me, I would probably be like, don't worry about it. Go ahead and just use my beans, my grinder, my AeroPress, my, about everything. Yeah. Use whatever you want. But never even asked, and then never even said thank you. Yeah. So that makes me not want to help him.
No. Yeah. I guess it's the thing about giving and taking. When other people are giving to you, you're more able to do the same back to them.
Yeah.
Do you feel this way?
I 100% feel that way, and that is a big reason why, I have things like this podcast, and everything I do, I share 100% openly now.
Yeah.
And even things like the Udemy course, it's still brand new, so I don't even know if it's going to work yet.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to share it because it has potential to work.
Yeah.
And it's and the thing is, it'd be very easy for me to say, to keep it all secret, don't tell anyone about drop shipping. Don't tell anyone about Udemy. Don't tell anyone about, Chiang Mai. Don't I mean, I could just keep this little piece of paradise for myself.
Yeah.
But it's the exact same thing as, what we were saying earlier about putting out, good stuff into the universe.
Yeah.
And even without expecting anything in return, it comes. It always comes.
And I believe happiness is best shared. And that's why you shouldn't keep this as a secret or for yourself. Mm. And one question I have for you is, I'm curious, what got you started on creating this Udemy course?
So I originally wanted to start another dropshipping store with Larissa.
Yeah.
And the problem was she was working full-time as a teacher. So our only time to do it was on Saturdays. And because, she would leave work at 6:30 in the morning and she would get back around 4:30, almost 5 o'clock in the evening. Yeah. And she was exhausted because she's, playing with these little kids all day. She's taught, I think 4-year-olds. So they're a lot of energy. And then at night, I've been working all day. I don't want to work anymore. No. And she doesn't want to work anymore. No. So we really only had 1 day a week.
Okay.
And I told her, I was like, look, we can do a store together in the future, but we need to do something that we can just, slowly do over the next 3 or 4 months. So she started with the blog. I told her, I said, don't expect to make any money from a blog, but just use it for experience and get used to working online and writing and things like that. Yeah. So she started that, and she enjoyed it. And then I forgot how I even stumbled upon Udemy. I think someone just mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool," And I didn't know anyone who made any money from it. I literally never met a single person who's made a course, and I was like, "Oh, let me try. I'll try it. Okay. I'll be the first. I don't mind." Right? Yeah. And so we started putting it together, and it literally took us 3 months to start our course because we only worked on it once a week. Yeah. But the goal was, before I went to Berlin, we wanted to be up and live.
Yeah.
And so, the last, I would say, couple of weeks, we really put in a lot of effort. We, it was hard. We got a lot of arguments over it, got a lot of stress, and finally we had it up, and we're like, wow, it's live.
Yeah.
And then we made $75 the whole month. So it's like $30 a person, which is nothing. Especially because I think at the time I was making, I don't know, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 from my dropshipping store, and I'm making $75 from this, and it took me just as much time.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, this is ridiculous. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
But the reason why we continue doing it is because we're like, okay, this can be something that is truly passive. With my dropshipping store, it's one of those things where in the beginning, it takes a long time to set up.
Yep.
And now I only work on it for maybe, I don't know, like how many hours a week do you spend in your store?
Around here or back home?
Well, let's say back home then here.
Okay, so back home it was like 1 day full time and around 1 hour on average a day.
Okay.
So I think now I'm just getting started for real here, but I've got more work done here in these 3 days, I guess, than I would have back home in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of the same, where sometimes I work on it really full time, and some days it's just an hour a day. And I would say the only thing stopping me from opening more stores is, even though I only work 10 hours a week on my store now, if I opened 2 stores now, it's 20 hours a week. If I open 4 stores, it's 40 hours a week. And I don't want to have another full-time job.
No.
That's not why I joined this lifestyle.
No.
So what I like about Udemy is, in the beginning, it takes a lot of time to set up, and it doesn't make nearly as much money. But if we can go to Nepal, go trekking for 2 weeks, and just not even think about customer service, that's something I would like to do.
Yeah.
So our goal is to make a couple of these courses, and then if we need more money from it, then so what we're doing is basically scaling up my existing e-commerce store.
Yes.
And that's why for 4 hours a day, Larissa helps me with my dropshipping stores, scale up the profit from that, and then, not start another one just yet, because if we can just make more money from the existing one, we can still work the same amount of time and not have to worry about it.
Yeah. And that's what I got into this for also. It's not about making the money, but it's about being able to have this lifestyle and developing yourself while doing this. This is the most important thing for me. Yeah,
and if you notice, almost every single person here, not only, I would say in the beginning, everyone spends all their time just on their stores. Yeah. But after that, people have lives, people have hobbies. Most people here, I would say more people I met here eat paleo than anywhere.
Exactly. It shocked me, man. Yeah, because back home, only a few people who train at my place know this and eat like this, but it's like, oh, you are eating paleo and you are, wow, great. Yeah, like you can help each other and you can talk about it. And because it's a new place, they can explain how they fit this lifestyle and way of eating around here, because it's different than back home.
Well, like for example, for lunch today, what did you have?
I had an omelette with vegetables.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I had 2 dishes.
Oh, and a coconut.
Okay, see?
One of the best things
very paleo
around here. Yeah.
So I had stir-fried peppers with chicken.
Okay.
And then I had a dish of stewed pork with stewed boiled eggs.
Yeah.
And I just said no rice.
Yeah.
And then for dessert, I went across the street and bought a coconut as well. And what was your bill for lunch?
It was in euro.
Yeah.
1.25.
So $1.25 euro. Or 1.25 euro.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And I think it's because I had a custom dish. It was more expensive. So if I took a normal one, it was 0.75 euro.
That's crazy. Yeah. And so when you go and have lunch in Holland, what does it cost you?
Oh, I normally don't even eat that much out because of this. And I think it would be 10 times more expensive, especially with the coconut or a drink like this.
I think just the coconut would be.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's insane, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the huge things I like about being here. Just being able to eat out 3 times a day for like you wouldn't even pay that much for one dinner back home.
And rent? What were you paying back home?
Back home, I've lived nearby my school, and it was 325 euros, and it was pretty cheap. But I pay here for a room twice the size. I guess 4 times as less.
Okay.
Do I say that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So twice the size, a fourth of the price.
Yeah.
Yeah, and me and Lewis are actually moving into a new place together on Tuesday. So we're excited. We're making the next step in our relationship.
Yeah,
and we're moving into this huge apartment, which I think is, I don't know exactly how much, but it's more than 100 square meters. Mm-hmm. And so
exciting.
So I'm really happy. It's the bedroom itself is just a standard size, but the kitchen, living room area is like a wide open floor plan. It has like a floor to ceiling window and a nice balcony. Yeah, and it's more expensive than what we're paying here, but at the same time it's only $500 US, so it's 16,600 baht, which. For 2 people,
which you're sharing, exactly.
Which is sharing, it's, and for that, like, it's walking distance to everything. Yep. And like, there's no way we can be able to afford that back home for this little money.
No, exactly.
And here's the problem: is if we lived in Europe or in the US, or even in South Africa, we'd have to get a place like that. Like, you can't. It's not like you can just rent a hotel room like. Here in Thailand, you have to actually get an apartment, and your minimum you're going to pay that much money. And the problem is then you just don't save anything. And I think that's what we like about being here so much. Is if you look at my life 4 months ago until now, not only have I traveled to 4 countries in Europe. But I also have more money in my bank account just because it's so cheap to live here that I've saved up. Yeah. Which is crazy.
Yeah. And you've kept your apartment, right?
When you left? Oh yeah, I did. I left this apartment empty. Yeah. Just so I can leave my stuff here.
Yeah. Well, that's a crazy lifestyle, right?
Yeah, and it's 100% possible now. I mean, when you're at home, did you have any doubts on how easy it would be to do all this?
Yeah, of course. I think along the way of really getting here, there are so many things which will keep you from going and really doing it. And
what were some of those things?
Just normal doubts. One of the major things is, I guess I should set up this store first here in Holland, then make enough money to live around in Thailand and then go there. Okay. But actually being here is one of the major advantages setting up this store, and it's a huge difference than being at home, not having the right people around you, and don't have this motivation and the same mindset of people you're working with.
I have noticed that a lot of people are moving out here and and then getting started. I would actually advise people to at least do some of the basics when they're at home first.
Yeah,
things like setting up the business tax stuff. Yep. Calling suppliers. Yep. And it's because you're in the same time zone, and it's just easier. Yeah.
And I actually needed to be there for some things just to register, fill my information out. Having all these contacts, I guess it's easy to do it back home. Definitely.
Yep. And when you're out here, then you can kind of scale up. Then you can start doing. I would say try to make your first sale before you come. Yeah. Just so everything's set up. Yeah. And then now you can work on more advanced stuff. Yeah. Like today, you're meeting with someone to do SEO. Yep.
The AdWords, the Google Shopping, and I meet people like this every day. And they're like, "Hey, I can help you." And wow, I would dream about this back home, and I would have to pay you a lot to able to sit down with you for even an hour. Yeah. Yeah. And,
even me, sometimes I need help with, let's say, some custom coding, Yeah. I'm like, I really like to, put this this badge here instead, move this shopping cart button here. Exactly. And, if I was back at home, what am I going to do? Go down to Silicon Valley and hire a programmer? There's no way. So, or I'd have to try to communicate with someone from India or and it's so much easier just to know somebody sitting next to you already. Yep. And to say, okay, let's do this.
It's quicker, it's cheaper, it's even nicer to do because you have you're working on the internet and you don't have that many personal interactions while you're doing that. So it's better to have someone around. Yeah. Definitely.
100%. Yeah. All right, so let's wrap this up. Any kind of last things you want to talk about?
Well, I guess we'll talk about the gym and the trading. Yeah. I don't know if we still have time.
No, let's quickly talk about that.
Okay, so I've done a lot of courses in Holland about the training, and I have my own view on it a lot.
Okay.
And we're training a couple of athletes and also just regular personal training, and combining it with rehab and just improving people's capacity to move better in regular life and without any physical problems. That's the short version about how we work. And one major change for me was when starting in the fitness industry, learning more about how your body really moves. And that's one thing I want to stress, well, not stress, but mention to everyone is at least listen to your body and try to train the way you are meant to move, instead of just working on different parts of your body. How do you say it? Separate? Yeah. Because your body is not used to it doesn't work like this in regular daily life and physical activities.
I think a lot of people, okay, so I see you guys at the gym doing these retarded exercises, and now that I kind of understand, how important it is to feel healthy and have good balance, I look at them and I'm like, and I remember asking someone, I said, why are they doing that? Yeah. And he said, he's like, he's just trying to add muscle. He doesn't care if it's functional. He just wants to get bigger. Yeah. And I think a few years ago, that would have been me. I wouldn't have thought about it. I would have been like, I want to get bigger. I want to have more muscle. That's it. I wouldn't care about anything else. Yeah. But now that I'm looking at it from a long-term point of view, exactly, I'm thinking, well, I can still be, more muscular. Yeah. I can still, 100%. Be in great shape. Yes. But I can have it be functional, and I can have it, I can have my body feel good, not injure itself. Yes. Because now my biggest fear in life is actually getting injured, because it sets you back so much. Yes. It actually, it really messes you up. Like for, let's say, 3-4 months, you can't do anything. And then you start, not only do you start back where you were, but you start over almost. Yeah. It's almost like you lose 6 months to be, if you're injured for 2 months. And
it's not only in training, it's also in regular day life and being able to do things in your regular activities.
Yeah, definitely. So I do like that. Maybe I'll see you at the gym one day.
Yeah, we'll have a nice training together.
Yeah, it's cool.
And, let's share experiences.
I would say also one big change for me physically in the last 4 months was my squat form is a lot better now.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, so 4 months ago, I could not touch my heels to the ground when I squat. So for those who don't, can't really picture this, I just want you to basically squat down, right? Yeah. And a normal human should be able to do that pretty comfortably, but I would say 90% of people cannot do it anymore. And it's because we sit too much.
Yes, our lifestyle.
Yeah, and we just aren't used to this anymore. So for me, if I try to squat down, I would be on my front of my foot, like on my toes almost. Yeah. And it took me so long to be able to figure out, not figure out, but train my body to be able to do a proper squat. Yeah. So I started I've been doing a program called Strong Lifts 5x5.
I heard about it.
And you basically start with just the bar. So you start with zero weight, and you add 1.25 kgs every time you work out. Okay. So in the beginning, you look like an idiot, because I'm like, I'm a pretty big guy. Yep. And I'm there squatting, 2 kilograms. And I'm really focusing on my form because I know how important it is. So, and then the next week I'll come add 2 more kilograms. Yeah. And, and then I'll like really be, focused. Yeah. And the trainers there, the Thai guys there, that were bodybuilders, they looked at me like I was insane. Yeah. They looked at me. Doing? Yeah. They're like, why are you, squatting 10 pounds, you know? But, every time I went, I added and added and added. Yeah. So now I'm at like a pretty normal weight. I think I'm squatting about 75 kg. And then, they see like, okay, he's actually starting to get heavy, but my form is so good now.
Exactly.
And for me, that was the best use of 4 months of my life ever.
Yeah, and before this, you didn't really improve in your form?
No, my form would get worse every time. Because what happens is, especially... Okay, so I do have to thank CrossFit for introducing me to squats. Yeah. Because for the 20 years before CrossFit, I never did a squat at all. Yeah. Or I would use like
There's no reason to do it.
Yeah. Or I would do the machine squats, which doesn't do anything.
Nope.
So... So thank you, CrossFit, for introducing this, you know, to me. But the bad thing about it was because you don't really have that much time to work on your form in CrossFit because it's a big group class. You only have an hour.
Based on time,
every week my weight would go up, so I'd be able to, you know, I would be expected to hit a personal record and add weight to it. But my form never got better. No. So if anything, it actually got worse trying to compensate for the new weight.
And then you're actually not really improving, I guess, because there's more weight, but the movement is going down.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So I spoke to a CrossFit trainer recently. I bumped into him at lunch, and I told him I was doing strong lifts. Oh. And he actually said to me, he said, you know what, that's actually very good. Yeah. He's like, you know, in an ideal world, every single person would do something like the strong lifts program for a year to get their form perfect and develop that functional strength and then do CrossFit.
Yeah. And that's one reason why we didn't offer real CrossFit back home, but kind of with our own touch on it to have this kind of influence on the training. Yeah.
And I love it. And so I guess my plan is I want to keep doing this because I don't even know why. I really enjoy seeing the progress. Yes. And not even consciously trying to build more muscle because I think I'm actually big enough now already. Yeah. But I don't know. It's fun. I guess it's almost kind of like a challenge. Yeah. And I think what I'm going to do is I want to squat 100 kgs because right now I weigh around 90. Yeah. I would like to squat at least my body weight. Yeah. And then I think I'm going to kind of tone down on that and start doing more like Tabatas or like CrossFit style workouts. Because I'm actually gaining too much muscle now.
Oh. You know, getting too big.
Yeah, which, you know, a lot of people, especially Asian guys, never would have that problem. No. But I've literally, like, my like waist is the same size, so I know it's not adding fat. But my legs, you know, and my ass actually, and my arms.
I agree.
I've actually gained 6 kgs of muscle. And just by doing this program.
Yeah. And it's because of you're using movements you're not used to. Because they're adding muscle you don't use a lot in your regular life and your normal training. So it's all new movements and using new muscles.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the only bad thing is so my goal before was to get under 200 pounds. Yeah. So I was actually doing a lot of like sprints and Tabatas and CrossFit, you know, style kind of high intensity workouts because I was trying to get smaller. Yeah. And it worked. And I got down to less than 90 kgs, which is less than 200 pounds. Wow. And I was like, okay, 6-pack is coming. Yeah. My abs were starting to show. And then I got into this program. And now I'm like, now I'm adding muscle, so I'm getting bigger again. So the abs aren't showing as much. Oh. And I was actually thinking, it's like, you know what? This is really bad timing because I just released the new book, Life Changes Quick. Yeah. And part of it was me wanting to get a 6-pack. Yeah. So I'm almost thinking, you know, maybe I should just stop adding muscle, you know, slim down, get a 6-pack, take some pictures.
And then move on.
And then move back. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you know, what I realized is, yes, that was my goal. That was, you know, when I first wrote that book, I think it's even in the second chapter, my goal was to get a 6-pack. Yeah. And I got really close to it, but I don't feel like I gave up or made a U-turn on it. Yeah. I almost feel like I found a different path, almost a better path. Oh. So that's why I'm okay with it. Yeah. You know, I think that if I had just gave up, I started eating crap again, or I stopped working out, then I would feel like it was a failure. But the fact is, I still eat healthy. Yeah. And if anything, I'm the only thing that's different is I'm doing a stronger lifting program, and I'm adding muscle. So it's one of those things where, you know what, it's still, you know, it's not the original goal I had, but it's a different goal.
Yeah, and it's still going in the same direction which you started from, and it might be a little bit different, but in the long run, it will bring you to the same place, I guess, where you started from.
And I think that's kind of the whole theme of this podcast episode and the book is, you know, set a goal and go for it. Yeah. Things will change along the way.
Exactly. That's human nature, right?
But just do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And don't worry if something changes or your focus is getting a little bit different. But for me, one important thing is just go with your feeling. And if you're feeling okay with it, just go for it.
Just go for it.
That's a nice ending, huh?
Very cool. So if they want to check out your site,
it's eatmoveimprove.nl. We're writing in Dutch, so it could be a little bit difficult. But for the Dutch people around there, ask me a question anytime. And I'm sharing this website with my business partner. Big shout out to Michael Corral. He's having World Championships next year in Miami, America. And I'm wishing him the best luck. And I'm doing everything I can this month in able to be there next month.
Very cool. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't read the new book, Life Changes Quick, please do it.
Yes.
And if you guys can't afford it, just forward me the receipt and I'll give you your money back.
Wow.
And
that's the deal, man.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm doing it is basically for two reasons. All right. One is, by you guys buying on Amazon, it increases the ranking of it so more people see it.
Yeah.
And the more 5-star reviews or the more reviews you have on there, the more people see the book. And I really want everyone to read this book.
Yeah.
I really feel like this is that catalyst. It's kind of that spark of inspiration for people to change. Because a lot of people, they don't realize the whole story behind how hard it was to break away and decide, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to make money online. I want to get in shape. Yeah. I want to be happy. And if it wasn't for the lessons I learned in that book, I don't know if I would be here today. No. So that's why I want everyone to read that book. And
that's another huge letter for all the people around there who are trying to get out of the rat race or whatever you call it.
Exactly. So read the ladder. Check out my blog, johnnyfd.com. And on there's the link to how to get the book for free. There's a link to Anton's course that both of us took and are successful with. There's a link to a discount on Shopify, who's a sponsor of this podcast. So basically, go to johnnyfd.com and click recommended resources and you'll find it all there. Yeah.
And if there are any Dutch listeners, just hit me up on Facebook and you can ask me anything you like in order to get here or anything I can help you with.
Okay.
That's it.
See you guys later. Peace out. Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus, How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week. And remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.